Hello everyone, welcome to this course. We're going to look at Aheer, a very interesting Raag, and this is probably one of my most favourite scales, just the pure notes that we use in the Raag, the combination of those notes. It just has such an interesting balance of sort of light and shade, and it's just, to me, one of the most intriguing scales, just, you know, before you even start thinking about phrasing or different compositions. So let's just go through the notes, and we can play all 7 notes in ascending and descending straight through. It does have a tendency at times to skip sa and pa in the ascent, but you don't have to skip those notes. There's a sort of option to use them or to not use them. So just going through the notes, and this is related to Raag Bhairav, but it's a combination of a much older, it's combined with a much older Raag that we don't really hear these days, called Aheer. So the Aheer and Bhairav came together as Aheer Bhairav, and then that actually became a very popular Raag. It's a morning Raag, and it's sort of a devotional mood. So in Raag Bhairav, you'd have that sa, re, ga, ma, pa, and then followed by a kormal da. So sort of keeping that darker sound of that semitone above sa and pa. That's kind of what you expect to hear. And then it has that should ni. So it creates quite an angular scale with quite big jumps between the notes. So that's Raag Bhairav, kormal re and kormal da, and then we have the ga, ma, pa and the ni shuddha. So that's the Raag Bhairav. It's important to know where that's coming from. That's considered to be one of the most ancient Raags. But Aheer Bhairav, instead of having the kormal da and the shud ni, it flips those two around. So we end up having the shud da and the kormal ni. So those notes that were further apart become closer together. And that section of the Raag must be what's derived from Aheer, this ancient Raag that we don't hear about that one so much anymore. It's kind of been absorbed into Aheer Bhairav. So just laying that out, we have the sa, kormal re, ga, ma, pa, just like in the original Raag Bhairav, and then the shud da and kormal ni sa. So it starts out with that sort of almost Arabic sort of character, but then it lightens up with that shudda, and shudda, that 6th degree, is probably just my favourite interval. If I could just name one interval that's my favourite, it would be that one. And then the kormal ni sounds more spacious, and then up to that sa. So sa, kormal re, ga, ma, pa, da, kormal ni, sa. So there's just an interesting variation of the more mysterious sounding notes and the sort of lighter sounding notes. And it's interesting how that shud ni has a very angular sound. So when you combine that, I mean, it's from the major scale, the Bilawal scale, but if you combine that with the, in Raag Bhairav, when you combine that with the kormal da, it has a very exotic sound. And you also, in Raag Bhairav, you'd get this ni, sa, kormal re, and that's a very interesting sound that's very un-Western. You don't get that in any Western mode. That's having those 3 semitones in a row. Okay, so in this case, having the shudda and the kormal ni actually makes it feel more spacious, and that balance that you get. And then the kormal re still holds that character of Bhairav, where it's come from. So very interesting, and it makes sense how it's almost like two different rags that have come together to create that tonal landscape. But now let's have a look at just some of the phrasing considerations in Raag Aheer Bhairav and how we navigate around this scale, because you can use all of the notes in ascending and descending. So there's quite a bit of freedom and variation that can be found. But the tendency is to skip sa and pa on the way up, and that sets up a lot of the different types of key phrases that you'll find. So probably the most signature phrase would be this da, ni, re, sa. And re has a lot of weight to it. Back to sa. So da, ni, re, sa, that's a real signature phrase. And if you're moving on from there, coming up to ga and ma, ma is seen as a very prominent note as well, so it's a beautiful note to sustain. And if you're looking to come down from there, then ga ma re is very typical, often with a slide from that ma. Repeating the da, ni, re, sa is very characteristic. So you can play ma, ga, re, sa, but ga, ma, re, da, ni, re, sa, that's very significant. Moving up from there, ga, ma, da. So you can play ga, ma, pa, da, but ga, ma, da, skipping pa is very frequently used, and sort of playing with that beautiful interval there between the da and cormal ni, and coming back to pa. So pa can still be sustained, it's still a note that can hold that sort of sense of resolution, but you just tend to skip over it a lot of the time. So that's actually a key phrase in the composition that we're going to look at a bit later. So then carrying on up from there, approaching sa, da, ni, sa, or cormal re, da, ni, re, sa. And coming down, you can just go straight down to ma, sorry, sa, ni, da, pa, ma, and then ga, ma, re, again, is more common. So we can just go sa, ni, da, pa, ma, ga, re, sa, but just doing the ga, ma, re, sa, and da, ni, re, sa, again, that beautiful phrase that just lets everyone know that it's Aheer Bhairav. So that just gives you some idea of the different phrasing considerations, and when you look at the composition, that just gives you more of a sense of the different motions that can sound very characteristic, and you'll just build up that language as you go and listen to different recordings. So there's a lot to unfold there, and a lot of these things, you keep those principles in mind as you're improvising, and you sort of develop those over time, but that will give you just an overview of how to start to think about the scale. If you want to start one of these courses, you can buy them individually or you can subscribe monthly to access all of them. For subscribers, there'll be new content every month, including live streams where we can answer your personal questions and go into more detail about applying this material. So far we've covered Raag Yaman, Raag Bageshri, Jog, Hamsadwani, Kafi and Raag Malkons, and there's much more to come. This body of work is a culmination of the 18 years experience I have as a guitar teacher, combined with the knowledge acquired through studying the sitar directly, and then adapting that material using the guitar techniques that suit this style best. To create these courses and gather the most authentic material possible, I work closely with other Indian classical musicians such as Manish Pingle and Gurdane Riot. I'd like to give a special thanks to my guru Roopa Panesar, who has guided me in the creation of these courses. Much of the material has been adapted directly from my training with her. Also Shakir Khan, my guru, who's been inspiring me immensely and continues to shape how I approach the instrument and this incredible world of Indian classical music. So come and join us at the Indian Classical Guitar Academy to start this journey. The first 50 subscribers will get a reduced price every month for the whole duration of their membership. So come and be one of the first guitar players to realise what it means to be an Indian classical musician.